If I was to take OfferUp on a date, we would go to Jimmy John's. It's fast, efficient, and cheap. So, OfferUp makes selling as easy as taking and sharing a photo. So our big belief is, while there are plenty of ways that people can buy and sell online today, a lot of them are not really a mobile-first approach. And an example of that is, 1 in 4 homes in America, 1 in 4 homes that have 2-car garages can't park in their garage. 1 in 10 of us now rent storage units. So when you look at things like this and the amount of stuff that's sitting, you often question, why is it sitting? And my big belief, it sits because it's very cumbersome and very tough to basically make those items discoverable, all the way to the point of dealing with the transaction and buying something. So we look at the entire process of buying and selling, and we say it's full of friction using existing methods, and we think that these devices really break down a lot of that friction. An example of that is, if you want to post something on, say, Craigslist today, that would take you 15 minutes. If you want to post on OfferUp, it takes you 30 seconds. So again, we really think there's tremendous opportunity, and we're really a mobile-first local commerce company, specifically focused on moms. Every single minute, there's a new conversation happening on OfferUp within 15 miles of where we're sitting. We have a lot of activity in terms of women that are on there. So we've had, in the last few months, we have over 20,000 moms, all within 15 miles of where we're sitting now, using OfferUp. I'd say that what's really interesting to see is, the average mom will come in and post something at least 6 times. So it's really exciting to see also when somebody posts how fast they're posting. So we have a store down the street, actually, for example. She signed up, in her first day she posted 65 items, and she did it in less than an hour and a half. So I think that the speed and the velocity in which people are posting continues to go up. I had a sense building marketplaces was tough, and it is. I think it always takes longer, and fortunately I've done a startup before, so it always takes a little bit longer than you think. So I think persistence and being passionate about your vision really helps, and so that kind of keeps us focused on what we need to do. But I'd say in general, it always takes longer. Some of the challenges with local and building out local is, it's a lot easier to market broadly and get a bunch of users nationally. That's a lot simpler. So how do you attack and basically think of it like injecting a virus locally? How do you get it to spread? So you name it, we've tried it. We even filled up a semi-truck with 1,000 balloons and went door to door in the most densest neighborhood in Western Washington, which was Klahanie. And we did it because, again, 1 in 4 people with a 2-car garage can't park in their garage. So we said, well, statistically, we'll just fish in a barrel. We'll just go down the street. So we filled up a semi-truck with 1,000 hot air balloons, or 1,000 balloons, helium balloons, and went door to door for a day. And so it was a lot of work. Helium's expensive these days. We got balloons all over the place that we filled up. We still have plenty. We still have probably another 1,000 more of these. So if you ever want to blow up balloons, but we did it in a way to say, okay, is this going to drive some interest and awareness? And what was great to see is, at the end of the day, you could drive down the street in Klahanie, and everywhere you looked, every door, there was OfferUp branding. So from a branding perspective, it worked. But in terms of conversions, actually getting people to do stuff, didn't really produce hardly anything. So, and we've done a lot of experiments like that. We've done a lot of just kind of traditional, non-technical experiments to see what they do, and most of the time they don't really pan out, but you don't know unless you kind of try. So I like what Gary's doing at Clipboard, and the reason I like that is I think he's attacking the problem in the right way, and I like what he's doing because he's taking content and slicing it and dicing it in many different ways, and I think he's going very deep and doing some very intelligent things with that. So he's definitely got a big idea, and I wish, I think in Seattle we could do with a few more, big ideas. At least for me, I like to build things. I like to create. I like the whole creative process. I like to build teams. I like to set goals and climb mountains and those kind of things. So I just hope I can do this, the rest of my life, pretty much. So, we've got big ambitions. I want you to be able to travel around the world one day, and wherever you're at, you pull out your phone, and based on your location, we automatically tell you all the stuff that people are selling nearby. At the same time, if you want to sell within that community, just like taking and sharing a photo, you're able to do that. So, but to get there, we're starting local. Like, we're starting within 15 miles of where we're sitting, and we're proving out our blueprint and how we're going to move to market, and we're very bullish on how we're going to go about doing that. And so, success for me at the end of the day, success for me in the next 90 days is just, you walk down the street and talk to a mom, and they know about OfferUp, and they're using OfferUp. Long term down the road, like I said, is I want to really redefine commerce. Anywhere you go in the world, you should be able to pull out OfferUp and buy stuff in just a few clicks from your phone and close the whole transaction in a very kind of safe way. So that's going to take some time, but that's kind of the vision for us. So to see the activity that we have going on and the amount of engagement is really exciting. So another interesting stat about over 90% of the items that are posted on OfferUp are actually clicked on and viewed, and a very healthy percentage of those are also engaged on. So we can see when people are chatting and talking, and like I said, we can basically turn a screen on and just see real time how people are communicating. And I think that to see a problem, like when I started this company, I had a room that was just like this, full of junk, and it's now my daughter's nursery, and I wanted to sell it. And my headache was, it's too time consuming. I want a safe and an easier way to basically do this. And to see thousands and thousands of users, that are very, very close to where we're sitting, like actually using it, I think that's the most exciting thing to me. Cougs. You didn't give me the Cougs option.
Oh, the camera turned.
Oh, no. And the Sounders. I'm a Sounders ticket holder, so I go watch Sounders games too. I think we're very driven. I think we look at data and we execute pretty well. We're a pretty small team, so I feel like we get a lot done with very little resources, and I think we're pretty collaborative. We all kind of speak our mind, which I think is also, which is good. I think there's some interesting things we're doing on the product and OfferUp that haven't been done before. And one of them, if you think of one of the biggest issues around local commerce, especially amongst women, it's safety. We could build the most amazing product in the world, but unless it's much safer than the alternative, women in general will not really use it. And you see that a lot if you ever try to close a Craigslist transaction where there's always a boyfriend or there's always a husband there. And our big belief is, in this day and age, that shouldn't even have to happen. So we actually created a program called TrueU, and the whole idea behind TrueU is to build the safest local marketplace. And I'm very confident to say we are the safest way for people to buy and sell locally. So how the TrueU program works, it's a combination of different things that build this identity of who you are. And it does it in a very secure way. So say, for example, you see me on OfferUp and I'm not a TrueU member. Well, that's fine, you just see Nick. Once I'm a TrueU member, I'm identified as being a TrueU member, and that means I stand out in the community as a safer person to do business with. And we do that on a series of attributes. So one is, have I logged in with Facebook? And if I have, we immediately match you to, or tell you if you have trusted connections in common. So say, for example, I'm trying to sell you this bear here, and you don't know who I am. Well, you can immediately see, because you logged in with Facebook, that we maybe have 3 contacts in common. The other thing we're also doing is, at the end of every transaction, you are rating me as a seller, and I will rate you as a buyer. And I will rate you on all the stuff that people complain about. Oh, the person was flaky, they didn't show up on time. All that is built in, so now we're starting to build a local reputation on who somebody is. And then lastly, if you really want to kick it up a notch, we actually have the ability to scan your ID. We bounce it off a public database and say, yep, Nick is who he says he is. So all these things in isolation on their own, you could argue, oh, somebody could steal my ID, or somebody could create a fake Facebook account. But combined, it's very powerful. And so we feel that our TrueU program is something we're going to continue to nurture into the future. And again, I think it's one of the most important things that we could be doing.